Hi, so today we're going to start with another Mystical Shaman Oracle just because I love this deck. I might mix it up tomorrow, I don't know. But we got Coyote with number 12, and the Coyote kind of represents the energy of divine deception. This is the trickster. This is the symbol of the one who provides like the detours. To help us grow and understand areas in our life that might be keeping us from our ideal self, right? We'll be going along and doing things great and saying, oh, good, everything's working out. Life's great and wonderful. Well, maybe not, but at least you feel like you're making progress. And then sometimes it feels like when you do that, when you level up, then something pops out of nowhere and kind of throws you off course. What the difference between allowing that to kind of allow you to tumble down the hill or dust yourself off and go back up only stronger because you've gone through that, or perhaps something you've learned has allowed you to kind of sidestep that tumble, right, and just go a little further, is all part of it. It's getting through those things, because things are going to happen, right? Life's going to happen. Life is going to life. It's how you get past those things that have been in your way before, right? And I say this all the time. It's kind of like when you're playing like old school Nintendo games. I don't know if anybody's ever played Mega Man, but that game hates me because that's the game that it reminds me of. It's because you get so far only by failing over and over again, and you get that muscle memory. It's kind of the same thing. We get to a certain point, and then here comes that big test, right? That big thing that, oh gosh, last time that's what made me fall, right? And rather than sinking into that feeling and allowing that to happen, you push past it, or you've learned how to get past it, and you have that faith, right? This is, I feel like, and I hate to say tests, but it's kind of like that feeling, like a test feeling, like you're understanding that, oh, I got so far. And then you kind of have to reiterate to yourself the things that kind of let you fail before, and not allowing yourself to be in there. Because I feel like a lot of times that's what it is. We think that there's something wrong with us. We think that, we're the reason why these things are happening, right? We think that, I can't get over this because this is always going to happen. And that's not true. It's pushing past that, having that faith and understanding that you can push past it. And all this growth is for a reason. It's almost like, the last leg before you get the big trophy. And that big trophy is not the end trophy either. There's always going to be more, but it's literally leveling up again. I pulled these cards, and 3 of them were in yesterday's message. So if you're interested in that, I can link that in description if I can figure out how to do that. I never know how to do that. But I had the Queen of Wands, I had the 5 of Pentacles, and I had the Magician. So here the Magician is with the 6 of Swords. The 6 of Swords being on top in this column makes me feel like this is telling us kind of to recognize to slow down. Things are in a calmer shore, but at the same time, it's not going to be that easy, right? It's reminding you that this has been a rough road, and there's rough roads ahead of us. But having the Magician there is reminding us that we have the ability, we have the tools, right? We have the knowledge. We have the ability to push past these things and create the things to get over that rushing river, so to the calmer shores, right? And a lot of times with the swords, it can be mental. So it can be something that that mindset that kind of bogs you down. So be gentle with yourself, and at the same time, recognize that you have the ability and you are powerful. In the second column, I have the Star, and I have the 5 of Pentacles. Right away, this is telling me, because this is my column of what we need to work on. This is telling me we need to definitely work on allowing that faith to kind of lead the way. The Star's on top. So I feel like this is reminding us that hardship in that 5 of Pentacles in this column is not as serious as we're making it. Nothing really ever is. It feels like it is. And, I know that there's some harder times in people's lives that I can't account for. But those are the mysteries that I, have yet to figure out. Don't we all? But the Star on the top is telling us that, this little hiccup in our path, this little feeling or little misstep is really just to kind of strengthen our faith, to kind of remind us that that's what gets us through it. The hope, the faith, the belief, right? Just like yesterday, the belief in ourselves, the belief in the process, the belief in the Great Spirit. And then the third row or third column is my, what we have around you, what resources we have around you. And we have the 5 of Wands, that's another 5. So there's a lot of change happening. And there's also the Queen of Wands. Now, the 5 of Wands, can be conflict, but a lot of times also it can also be playing. It can kind of be like training. I've had a couple of readers say that before, and I remember learning that somewhere, and I can kind of see how that is, because if you look, the wands are not swords. They're not serious fighting. They're just kind of aimlessly beating each other like kids do. So if you think about it, this is kind of like training. You've been through this before, right? You are able to get through this. And number one, you're able to get through this because that Queen of Wands has that confidence and she has that charisma, right? This is the feminine energy of the Wands. This is the Queen of the Wands, right? And, he, she, they, the energy is feminine. So we can all tap into this no matter what you identify by. It's a beautiful energy, and especially from getting through these little conflicts. So I feel like being that column of, the surroundings and the skills and the energy you have around you, we have that ability. We have that ability because we've been there before. We've done our training. We, did our camp or whatever, you know what I mean? We tested those skills. So we have the ability to master it and really confidently and courageously with class, because that's what she do, get through it, right? And so the last column is kind of like my, kind of like the outcome or what we're kind of searching for. It's kind of like an overall feeling. And we have the Sun and we have the King of Swords. So to me, this is happiness and clarity. So we're smart. We know where we're at, right? We understand this path, but we're happy with it. So this is a good outcome. So once we get all that through that stuff, and we got to realize that we have the faith to do this, this is standing in your power. This is understanding that what makes you happy is really what it's about, right? And I feel like a whole person, the thing that makes them happy is not going to trample on other people. I always like to mention that because I think sometimes people think, well, that evil person, they're happy, da-da-da-da. They're probably not really happy. So I feel like this is clarity and happiness. And then we have our Moonology Oracle over there, and that one is the new moon, which happens to be in Leo. So I thought that was cool that new moon came up. Didn't get new moon in Leo, but this new moon in Leo coming up is all about, definitely all about that fire, capturing your fire, understanding your authenticity, not being afraid to be who you are and take that powerful path, right? This is also an energy of being compassionate. Leo is all about fire and creativity, but it's also about being compassionate and loving. So this is not being afraid to do what you love, not being afraid to do be you. And I feel like this is huge right now. I really feel like this is where we're all kind of leading to be. And this is kind of what this reading says to me too. Those little hiccups that we get. If you see, we have harmony in reverse with a Herbal Astrology Oracle. I wasn't going to put that in there, but I was like, why don't I never use reverses? But I decided to use this one because there was is that a crane? I don't know if it's a crane or it's a pelican, but it reminded me of that King of Swords. So anyway, so with that, I feel like, we can restore harmony, right? That Dragon Sasha, I'm probably saying it wrong, card is Transfiguration, which is all about, it's Pluto, Mars and Pluto. It's tower energy. And we all know, if you've been doing this a while, you understand that the tower is not bad. The tower brings to light, just like the trickster in the coyote, brings to light the things that, weren't serving us and what we need to push through and get through. And we have to understand that we have the power, right? You got the power. I'm not going to sing though. And then with the Yarrow in reverse, as harmony, that's a Venus card. So really, that's all it needs. You need to just give yourself a little more self-love, because Leo loves themselves, but they also love others. They're a big, fierce kitty cat. You know what I mean? Leo the lion, but this is a loving and fierce and proud animal. But it's also a loving animal, right? Well, it's a loving energy. So I feel like that's kind of what this is saying. This is saying to have that faith. You're going to get through this. Don't let these little back steps get you down, because you've been here before and you're better for it, right? Yesterday we had the Fool, and the Fool was reminding us that we have the ability to get through it. We really are starting on this beautiful journey, but we're not starting without any knowledge, right? We are here having gone through so much and so much awareness. If I can sit here and think back to things that, like, I think collectively people would just think of, like even 10 years ago, that they're kind of like shifting on a big scale. It sounds naive and woo-woo, but that's kind of why we're all here, right? To capture that. I honestly feel like there is like this whole shifting of the collective, of the collective consciousness. I think this is beautiful. Anyways, I hope this helps somebody today, and I thank you so much. I will put that description in my description box. Also, if you want to like, share, subscribe, or if you want to check out my Buy Me a Coffee link, it's down there too. I do personal readings, and you can find that information there. Thank you.